Complicated.
Yeah, it's complicated. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to NikkiT.live. I'm your host, Nick Taylor. And today I'm hanging out with Phil and Theo again from Domino. And we're going to be chatting about Varlock. How are both of you doing today?
Great. How you doing?
Great, really good. Thanks for having us back.
Yeah. Also, some context for people that caught the last live stream. There was some video issues on my part. It's a bit of a funny story, but also I just felt terrible that the video didn't come out well. I was ordering coffee from Terminal Shop and I had to VPN in. Audio was fine, and visually, locally, the video all looked fine to me. But because it was running over the VPN, it just ended up becoming really choppy, and I was unable to recover the video, even though I tried it with FMPeg. So all that to say is we're back for two reasons. One, because I want to have a good video with both of you, but also we got some exciting stuff to look into with Varlock. We're going to be working with Varlock and Astro today. And yeah, before we get started, just a quick intro from each of you, if that's cool. And then we'll we'll go over what Varlock is, just for folks who might not have caught the slightly choppy video from the last one. I don't know if you want to go ahead first, Phil.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Phil. I'm in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. For those of you who don't know where that is, it's about an hour west of Toronto. I'm co-founder of Domino / Varlock. Theo and I have been working on this for about a year and a half now. And my background is in full stack front-end web dev, engineering management across lots of startups and enterprises and stuff over the years. Super excited to be here.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, thanks, man. Theo, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Theo. I'm based in BC, just outside of Vancouver. And yeah, I've been doing this for a long time, also for lots of different startups, also very full stack, done a bit of everything, back end, front end, product, management, really a bit of everything. And yeah, kind of I've been always hovering around dev tools, and now took the plunge to just be building dev tools full time. And yeah, we got kind of tired of seeing these same problems being solved over and over again, and having to roll your own, and said, let's fix this once and for all.
Yeah.
And yeah, been thinking about it for a while now. So we're pretty proud of this latest incarnation.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. And so I'm kind of up to speed with what Varlock is because we talked about it last time. But again, because not everybody might have caught it because of the video being a little off. I guess, let's just kind of recap like Domino, and then like Varlock, from what I remember, is like kind of like it's basically a rewrite of what Domino was, and Varlock is kind of what you want going forward. I think that was the gist I got from last time. Is that am I off base or?
No, you're pretty close. I mean, you could think of them like Pokemon, I guess. This is the next evolution.
Okay.
They play well together, but we learned a lot with Domino, and Varlock kind of builds on that, but like through the lens of simplicity and meeting devs where they are. So in Domino, that meant writing a schema in TypeScript. In Varlock, we built like a simple DSL that sits on top of the .env files they already use. So you don't have to write a bunch of new code. You can kind of understand it by just looking at it.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Theo?
Yeah, I mean, just to take one step back, like the problem that we're kind of trying to solve is just how to deal with environment variables, configuration in general. Some of the problems, there's a lot of different kind of problems, and we all kind of, it's pretty universal. Any developer is dealing with them, but some of the just kind of high level hits, I would say, are like, you have an env.example file, it constantly gets out of sync, right? You add a new one, and then somebody else, or you add a variable and forget to add it to the example. People are sending around .env files or individual keys, over Slack, even though they know they shouldn't. It's kind of unclear in an example file, which of these things are actual values I'm supposed to use and which of these are placeholders. You end up writing your own validation logic if you have it at all. You end up having to hand roll types if you want type safety, or again, you don't have it at all. Or, even if you are using something like Zod or something that is going to give you type safety, there's a lot of crazy kind of type voodoo happening, and you're not necessarily getting
Okay.
the best types, the best IntelliSense with the best docs. So
Okay.
we kind of wanted to build a universal toolkit to just like, hey, let's help you solve all this stuff, do it, make the right way, the easy way, and handle kind of all situations, and not just for JavaScript, right? For everything. So
Yeah.
another one of these problems is like, even in a monorepo, say you have a back end and a front end, it's like you might deal with environment variables completely differently in each of those parts of the code base, right? So we want a universal toolkit that's always applicable for all languages, for all frameworks.
Okay, cool. Awesome. And I guess this is geared more towards like application devs versus like platform engineers, or and I bring it up because like there's other, people have done other things with like configurations like Terraform and stuff, but like this is a different beast, right?
Kind
Or
of. I mean,
similar,
it's like
or
it's solving one part of the problem. Like, so our actual initial sort of plan was to be building out something that's a bit closer to Terraform in
okay.
terms of configuring deployments and infrastructure. And when we sort of dug into the problem and started peeling it back, we realized that it all kind of starts with the basic configuration environment variables. And a lot of what you end up
Yeah.
doing in Terraform is just wiring through an environment variable from here to here, renaming it 5 times, doing all this stuff. And it's like
Yeah.
we sort of had this idea that if we really solve the environment variable part first, the rest of everything will actually flow a bit easier and can remove a lot of
Okay.
boilerplate. We might get back to that eventually, but right now we're just focused on that first part, which is the configuration itself.
Okay, gotcha. And like, favoring simplicity as well, I guess, while still having it secure.
That's right.
Okay, cool. No, that's good context. Perfect. So I guess let's talk about, so Varlock's been out for a while now. It had when we talked last, we were talking about it in the context of a Next.js app, I believe. But there's support in V, and you've enabled this for other frameworks now, including Astro, which is what we're going to do today. Yeah. I think you were saying before the live stream, you support Quick and, well, Astro, like you mentioned. What other ones, or what's in the works if other things aren't there yet?
Yes, I mean, out of the gate, like the main sort of library itself, you can integrate easily into like a regular, Node app without, anything else. Things
Okay.
get a little trickier in front end land, right? Because environment variables are getting, some of them are getting built in at build time. Sometimes, depending on the framework, it might be running code both in the back end and the front end. So there's a lot more kind of magic and moving parts happening.
Okay.
So it's not as simple as just, importing the library and you're done. So in
Okay.
those cases, Next.js, Vite, etc., we have sort of a plugin that hooks into that build system. And so right now
Okay.
we've got a Next.js one, which is interesting and pretty tricky to build. 'Cause they don't have a real plugin system. And then there's a Vite plugin, which we just released a new version of with particular support for some of these more complex frameworks. So that's that I know of: React Router 7, Quick, the Cloudflare Workers Vite plugin that helps you build sort of workers if you're just building kind of vanilla workers.
Okay.
Obviously a regular vanilla kind of Vite project. I would assume that there's other frameworks that are using Vite under the hood that this would all work with, but
Okay.
those are the ones that I've tested so far. And then there's the Astro one, which we're going to get into, which is just a very thin wrapper on top of the Vite plugin to make it a Astro integration, which adds just a little bit more.
Okay. Cool. Gotcha. All right. So I have I'll bring us over to pairing view here.
Right.
And this is my empty screen. Am I pointing to the wrong screen? What am I looking at here? It's a beautiful trees there, but let's switch with my monitor. Let me check here. BenQ, that's right. Okay, let's refresh it maybe. I'll switch it up real quick here. Built in, no, that's okay. There we go. I don't know what happened, but cool. And I just realized so this is my we're looking at my current Astro site, which is this. So there's your beautiful mugs on the screen there. So NikkiT.live is just kind of like a site I have where I just have like all the guests coming on, you know, past streams from various spots, talks I've done, etc. So I really like Astro for this, leveraging the content collections, and there's some stuff I got to update, but yeah, just big fan of it, and just kept the site simple. But this is using um, it's currently deployed to Netlify, so it's pulling in the environment variables from Netlify right now. So I don't have like a local env at the moment. I just checked because I can definitely pull in the values though, obviously. So I guess before we even jump into like building the .env file, so like if we're going to work in a Vite-based project like Astro, I guess what are the first steps to just getting Varlock in here?
So there's just before we get into that, is there, how do I see your screen?
Oh, I'll share my screen with you guys. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. That's on me. 1 sec.
Just
Okay,
make it
cool.
easier.
Yeah. Well, I like my guests to kind of guess where I'm typing. So
Yeah.
See the
okay.
twinkle in your eye.
Let me know if you can see that okay.
Yeah, we see it.
Looks good.
Okay,
Okay,
so
cool.
basically in a normal Vite project, you would install the Vite plugin and add it to your Vite config. Astro, you know, has a thin wrapper on top of that. So there's two ways we can do it. We can either install the dependencies manually and add them to our Astro config file, or Astro has the whole integration thing. So why don't we try it that way, because it's the more Astro-y thing to do. So I believe you run Astro add. And you might
I
need to
already have
do,
it built in there. Okay.
You might need to
NPX,
do
I think.
PNPM or NPX, exactly. Astro add. Astro add, and then at Varlock / Astro - integration.
Okay. Well,
and we'll see if this works.
Okay, hold on a sec. This could be my config, but
yeah,
hold on a sec.
This has to do with your config.
Let me just make sure. Oh, no, I know what the issue is. I just created a work tree, and I have to just install the dependencies. That would actually help.
Yeah.
I don't know. Apparently, you need your packages installed to use them. So I don't know. I guess I didn't get the memo. Okay. Let's try that again. Okay, that's looking a little better. All right. So +1 to adding it through Astro's add. That's a nice way of doing it.
Yeah. But essentially, if you could do it yourself, then it would just be installing these packages, which you can do.
Yeah.
And then adding it to your Astro config, which it'll show, you'll see how it's doing that there.
Yeah, cool. I have this zoomed in a bit just so people can see, but let me pull up here. Okay, so it's just going to add the import in, which is nice. I mean, obviously you can do this manually, but it's always nice when these things just get done for you. So if we take a peek at the Astro config, so we can see Varlock's in here now, which is good. Okay, perfect.
Now the next thing to do is run npx varlock init.
Okay. Cool.
And now in your case, I don't think it's going to do too much because it sounded like you didn't have an end file already. But if you did have one, it would sort of read that in and try to do, take a first pass at adding decorators to your schema based on what it found in your existing end files.
Okay. I can pull down the env from Netlify if you want. If you want to show that, or is it better to just go like this? Or I can do it after once we have an env. Like if I pull down an env file after.
Why don't you pull it down and then we'll see. Yeah. Now the only thing is, do you have any plugin installed to hide any sensitive keys when you're streaming?
Yeah, I have one, but I'm just gonna do the Netlify CLI, it'll list them, but it won't list the values by default.
Okay.
Perfect.
So, oh yeah, sorry, env list. Cool. No environment builds set for. Oh, I've got to initialize it because I just
Yeah, hook it to the right.
I just created a new work tree, so it has no idea. I just have to map it to my. Yes, no. I will connect. No, it's already been pushed. What's going on here? Hold on a sec. That's good. NTL init. I do have a remote. Oh, maybe it's something to do with work trees. I don't know.
Don't
Okay.
worry about it. What I would say, what we could do is, why don't we just like make a dummy end file first, and what we can do is just do like a project find for
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
import.meta.env.
Cool. I'll get the
and
actual names of the variables though from. I'll just log into Netlify, just so I can. So let's do that real quick. I'll just do this off screen because streamer life. I exposed my OpenAI API key like a couple days ago on the stream. It was like, hold on a sec, revoke immediately. It's
Well,
something you never think about if you're like not live streaming, but I've exposed keys a few times, and as long as you revoke them, it's not the end of the world. But it's still kind of like,
would you be excited if you had like a one-liner to rotate those in the future?
Yes, I would. Yes.
Okay.
That would. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. No, that would definitely be helpful. Okay, so I have 3 here, so I'm just gonna copy them over.
Yeah. So why don't you make a .env.example?
Okay. Yeah. Equals.
Yeah, and it's always a little funny, like this project you're building yourself, so like it's easier to get by without necessarily having an example file, or kind of managing things in a little bit of an awkward way. But as soon as you're in like a bigger project with a team, it becomes obviously like essential.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, why don't you call that env example, right? And now run init again.
Okay, and wipe out my env, like, because it's I just copied what was in.
Yeah, you can delete the .env file if you want. It doesn't matter. It's what it will do is it'll actually scan for all end files and kind of put everything together with what it finds.
Okay.
And you could, if you wanted to, load values via that env, like a get ignored one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And validate it with the schema.
So actually remove the .env.schema file since we had created it. And it's not like you have to do it this way. This will just show off kind of how that init flow works. So yeah.
No, I think it's cool to show it. So So it's just telling me it's going to generate the schema file right now.
It's going to generate a new schema based on what it finds, and it's going to give you a little bit of instructions, a little bit of guidance. So you could say yes. Actually, so it says, have you reviewed it? So if you open it up, the .env.schema.
Okay.
That's a little bit of a test. Checks you if you're lying or not.
So required. Yeah. So this is good. The Cloudinary cloud name isn't necessarily sensitive because it's just my username, but I think it's good that it kind of gated it into the sensitive area.
So
and then
actually,
I guess
that sensitive, the way that these decorators work is it only applies to the item directly below it. So
okay.
Yeah, so that's saying, and it guessed that based on the fact that that thing is called API key. So it says, hey, it's called API key, probably something sensitive. The base ID, if that's sensitive, great, you got it there. Cloud name, that's probably not sensitive. So
no, it's literally like a username. I mean, I could make it sensitive, but it doesn't really seem necessary. Even the base ID, I feel like it's probably sensitive, but it's like if somebody got that, they still wouldn't be able to use it without the API key. But and then I guess here this is just a example.
To show you how it works.
Okay.
Yeah.
So since we're in here already, these are definitely required. So I will go ahead and add a required, and it's
Yeah.
just space delimited.
Yep. And so you
Uh,
can actually at the top you see how it says default required equals.
Oh,
Um,
okay, yeah. Yeah, let
so
me toggle the.
yeah, if you turn off the cloaking, you'll see that basically we can say, you can for each item you can say, hey, this is required or it's not, it's sensitive or it's not, and then in
Oh,
the
okay, okay,
top we call that the header. These are called root decorators. You can sort of toggle some of the overall behavior. So you can say, hey, by default, I want
okay, yeah.
everything required, I want nothing required. Or there's also a third setting called infer, which will, if you have a value set in the schema file, will assume that it's required and otherwise not.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, cool. And silly question maybe. I guess if like for here, for example, it says sensitive. Let's just say, I don't know, maybe I had more sensitive stuff than non-sensitive, and I set the default to true here. Is there an insensitive, or do I just say sensitive equals false or something?
So you can say sensitive equals false. Saying at sensitive is equivalent to saying at sensitive equals true. It's just a
Okay.
shorthand.
Yeah.
And then we actually do for sensitive, I believe it's sensitive or public. Like public is the opposite decorator.
Okay.
Um, and for required, there's the opposite is optional.
Okay.
And
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
it's just shorthands, really. It's all the same as saying sensitive equals true, sensitive equals false, whatever. But just want to make
Cool.
it
No,
easy
that
for
sounds
people.
good. Okay. So this schema looks good. Actually, this one, the last one's required too.
Yeah, and you can actually
Okay.
get rid of the equals quote quote because those basically what we're saying here is just that, hey, this thing is you still do equals, um,
Oh, okay.
but what you're saying is, hey, this thing exists, but I'm not going to set a value right now at all.
Okay.
And for the cloudinary one, you probably do want to just set the value there because
Yeah, it's
it's
my
not
own
sensitive.
project. I mean,
That's the default value. You can override it if you need to, but that's probably just what the value is, right? Um,
okay, yeah, gotcha. And um, so like, say we have some default values. Like I don't know. I'm thinking of a scenario where like for example, like maybe a bunch of devs, they have their own Firebase development environment, but they need everything else the same. So like, there's all these defaults for
Mhm.
everything, and then they just is it at override, or how do you go about, or you just literally set it to what you need?
So default values you just put in here as a value. That's it.
Yeah.
And then if you want to override it, you can do that in another .env file. So if it was just for you, you could create a new .env file called .env.local that you would
Okay.
git ignore. You can override whatever you want there. If you had, say, and it's very common, say in test mode, you have some
Yeah.
different values that are going to be the same for everyone. You make another .env file .env.test, and then that would
Yeah.
override in test mode.
Yeah, and I guess this
Okay.
is a good
Yeah.
opportunity to talk about end flag too, right?
Mhm. Yeah, do you want to go ahead? Yeah.
Yeah. And just before you do that, like the .env test .local, these are this is not Varlock specific. That's like just regular .env stuff you're talking about, right?
Well, it is. I mean, so it was popularized by, I believe, by a package called .env
Okay.
and some of these Next.js and Vite and a couple other frameworks have adopted it as kind of a standard thing. Some people
Yeah.
still really don't like it, but
Okay.
I think it's great. Like from my perspective, we need to deal with a bunch of config. Some of it's sensitive, some of it's not. It's often being varied based on some, environment flags. So like, why not have a toolkit that is able to manage everything in the same way?
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously don't commit any sensitive secrets to GitHub. Of course not.
Yeah.
But like if, why are you gonna awkwardly have to like toggle values when you're in test mode? Just like put it in a .env.test. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Um,
Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you there, Phil. You were going to talk about M flag, I think.
Yeah, so there's a root decorator, like one that goes in that top block called env capital FALAG, so env flag.
Okay.
So you can add it after generate types, or I mean, it can go anywhere, but
Okay. Uh, just like this.
Yeah,
Yep.
and then that equals, and then you can arbitrarily pick your own. So the one we use in examples is like app_env.
Okay.
All in like all uppercase. Like basically what you're doing is
Oh, okay.
rather than saying, hey, depending on the value of node env, we're going to toggle which env files we load. We're
Okay.
explicitly saying we have a environment variable called app_env. That's going to be the one that controls, which environment am I in.
Okay.
And so you're creating a pointer to what's the name of the environment variable that's going to hold that thing.
Okay.
So we'll
Gotcha.
now want to add app_env as another item in our schema.
Yeah, and we
Okay.
recommend not using node_env because you don't always have control over that. Some things will set it to
Yeah,
production.
I was gonna say that.
As I'm sure you're aware, with Netlify does that in certain contexts.
Yeah.
Installs, the way that installation works is different. A lot of open source tools, people don't do it as much anymore, but in the past, a bunch of tools would change their behavior based on the value of node_env. So just a good idea to not use node_env.
Yeah, so here,
Yeah.
you might want to set the default to development or whatever your sort of, base case is. And then you can add a type, an enum type, and set all the possible values.
Oh, okay. Okay. Got you. So is that
Type
equals at type equals.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and then this gets a little, I guess we haven't talked about the type system. So yeah, enum.
Yeah, so get rid of the quotes there.
Okay, that's
and do
Copilot kicking in.
enum.
Yeah. We actually have a VS Code extension for the syntax as well.
Okay, and I guess okay? Yeah, so is it similar to this syntax or for the enum?
Yep, similar. Yeah. So for the enum one, you can put in the different possible values there. So yeah, you could do development, staging, production, test.
Yeah, whatever you like.
Whatever you want.
It looks like Copilot might be aware of Varlock already.
Yeah.
It does a decent job sometimes. One nice thing here is that, like, for example, in Next.js, they will change they'll change which .env files they load based on if you're running like a next build or a next test, but you can only do development, production, or test. There's no way to do staging, or in other cases you might have multiple kind of staging environments or branch things. Like here you can just do whatever you want. It's totally flexible.
Okay, cool.
And then when you're in CI/CD, or you want to change the value of that locally, you just set that before you run your command.
Okay,
it's just another environment variable.
Gotcha. Also, I just want to say that thanks for joining, Dominic, and thanks for joining too, SC, over on YouTube. Good to see you as always. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Theo.
So one thing we could do now is if you open up a terminal and run npx, you can say,
we're back here, right?
Oh yeah, I'm already here. Okay.
You can say yes, delete the env example. That's fine.
Okay, and this is actually a question that just popped in my head, but since we have a schema now, a .env example is kind of redundant or useless, pretty much.
Yes. Yeah, and we actually don't. We do load in sort of all your env files, but we don't care about env example. The only time we care about env example is during that initialization flow.
Okay, gotcha. Cool. Okay, so we've created the schema. We deleted the example.env. What's next?
So why don't you run npx varlock load and see what it says.
Okay. Okay, so this is good. So the schema's kicking in, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So it basically loads that schema. It loads any other env files if you have that env local or env production or whatever, and then it validates the values based on the schema. So here we're saying, hey, these things are required. They're missing. You could do all kinds of other validation, regexes, string, min, max length, all kinds of stuff, URLs, emails, everything, right? So rather than having some weird explosion at runtime because something's missing or you fat fingered it, you're like, hey, here's a helpful error message, going to tell you exactly what went wrong. And this can happen at the beginning of CI or before you push or whatever, right?
And this is super helpful because I have a defensive code that always checks if nvar x does not exist, please set it, blah, 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 uh, so this is definitely nice to have because like it's something I think everybody does in their code, or they should
Yeah.
be if they aren't, unless they're
Well,
using something like this now.
you
Yeah.
basically, I mean, what I've seen is that most of the time people don't do it, and then they like crash their server or something goes horribly wrong, and then they add it, right? And
Yeah.
this way, it's like, why are you writing that code yourself? Just add a single decorator and you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, we've all been
Um,
down that road of like you ship a new feature, maybe the key doesn't break at runtime, and then a week later you're like, why are there no analytics? And it's because we didn't add,
yeah, yeah,
pulse
yeah,
log key or whatever, right?
Or you
yeah.
added it in staging but forgot to add it in prod. That's another one.
Yeah, and I guess in terms of this, so like this is kind of just doing like I guess a dry run to see if it's correct or not. But would you, when you do a deployment, would you just add npx varlock load to your CI/CD pipeline, or when the app starts, because it's going to read variables from Varlock, would Varlock itself at the start of the application kind of blurt this out, or what's the best approach of leveraging this?
Well, for your case here, because it's natively in that Astro plugin, if you run Astro
Okay,
dev, you're going to get the same failure, right? Or if you
Yeah.
run
okay,
build.
okay.
But
So if I do
that
that,
said, and
okay, cool,
we
nice.
do actually have a GitHub action as well that kind of does this automatically, but um, it is really handy to actually put an explicit like Varlock load step in CI, because you'll
Okay,
get this nice printout of what the values all are. Anything sensitive will be redacted, but
okay.
that can be super handy when you're trying to debug what the hell's going on in CI to actually see what's the config that is running right now.
Yeah, and since I've just got all these questions popping in my head as you're mentioning things, but like so like in GitHub Actions, for example, you'll have some environment secrets in GitHub itself,
Mhm.
so uh I guess it would still fail, obviously. Like if I forgot to set something in my secrets in GitHub, it's still gonna tank for Varlock. Uh, and like I guess Varlock, it's not just necessarily reading the .env file, right? It's really like whatever is in the environment, so which is why you can inject other things, right?
Yep.
Okay,
There's
cool.
there's an order of precedence, and so basically it's like it loads the schema, then it will load any .env file that's just like .env or
Okay,
.env.local. Then it will load any environment specific ones, so .env test, .env.test, .local. And then at the
yeah,
very top is actual environment variables that are coming in from the environment. So it
okay,
applies all of those in that order of precedence. So often it does make sense to pass something in as a normal environment variable, whether that is, a single, hey, what environment flag am I right
yeah,
now? Or, an API key that's then going to allow us to go fetch other secrets from somewhere else, or,
okay,
things like that.
Yeah. So a pattern you might see there is, if you're using 1Password or something to persist your secrets, you might need like a service account token or something, like that secret 0
yeah,
would live in GitHub secrets.
Yeah. Whereas then
yeah.
everything else could just be fetched automatically.
Yeah, and Esther was asking over on YouTube. Well, she was asking what I'm building. SC, it's just my Nikki.live site, which is an Astro site. So we're currently just adding Varlock to it, which is what we're discussing. And she says pretty nice that there's a GitHub action as well. I guess one thing that we haven't, I'm sure we'll get to it, but like we've got the schema. There's sensitive stuff, so like what happens to my actual .env file? Because like obviously I'm not going to commit
Yeah.
like clear text, right?
Mhm.
And I currently have my .env file in my git ignore, which pretty
Yeah.
standard. So like where are the values, I guess, or where do you put them?
So yeah, so those non-sensitive values can just live in the schema itself. Anything
Yeah.
sensitive, now there's two ways to inject it. One is with another .env file that is get ignored. So you could make now a .env.local file. We recommend calling it .env.local rather than just .env.
Yeah.
And that would hold these two missing sensitive items.
Okay.
Or we could use, so there's a function syntax that lets us call out to other services. So currently it just handles CLIs, but you could use, for example, the 1Password CLI to go get those
Okay.
things from 1Password. And in that case, you could still commit that information because
Yeah.
you're not committing the secret, you're committing instructions about how to go and get it.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. No, that's okay. That makes sense. I wonder. I'm guessing you don't have it, but like if you're using like Netlify or Vercel, like there's definitely at least a CLI I can get like my actual values. I wonder, and I know I'm sure Vercel has one too, but like I'm sure there's an API. Like you could basically write a function to hit Netlify or Vercel or wherever you host your stuff to if they have an API to pull out values potentially too, and as a custom function, I guess.
So you definitely could do that. I don't believe that's how those things normally work because I think what they do is they pull down a local file with the values in it and you can sort of resync it. The
Okay.
reasoning being that, every time you're running your dev and every time it's live reloading and like you don't want to just be fetching over and over and over again. So
Yeah.
like it acts as a local cache, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think you're right. Yeah, because when I use the CLI for Netlify, I can do. Uh, it's. I'm sure there's an issue with it being a work tree at the moment, but you can do NTL environment list,
Yeah,
and then I'll get a list and it'll show the values will be redacted, and then
yeah,
there's an option like, do you want to see the values?
right.
And I think you could import it. So I guess like depending on where you are, you could probably add a step like NTL init. If you're not, then env, like just generate a .env and then you're off to the races kind of.
Yeah, totally. I mean,
Okay.
Can you fetch a single secret with that Netlify CLI?
I think so. Let me just open up my other project because it's
Sure.
not in a work tree. Let's go to nikki.co and I'm just curious. I think you can, but let's do NTL. Whoops. Okay. Env list. Okay, so yeah, so it shows them all. Show values. No.
right. So
Let's try. I'll try an individual one just to see.
yeah, there's probably like env get or something like that, right? Like,
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think it's get. It's been a
well,
minute.
you might not want to do it here because it might show the value.
Yeah, I'll just go to chatting view for a second just to
Sure.
see. Yeah, and
It's
you
showing.
are exactly right.
Yeah. So
So
what you could
thank you for
do,
telling me to do that.
yeah. So one thing that we could do, and yeah, let's try it just to show how it would work, is like copy paste that that env get
Yeah.
whole thing, and now go into your env schema.
Okay, I'll go over here. Let me just bring us
And
back to cool.
And I guess we don't necessarily want to do this. We probably don't want to do this all the time. We only want to do this in development because actually in product, like on Netlify itself, it's gonna
Yeah, we'll
implement
have the
that
environment
already.
variables.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so make a new one called .env.development, a new file.
Okay. Yeah. Touch .env development. Cool.
And now, yeah, so do like Airtable API key equals,
Yeah. Okay.
and then do exec,
Okay.
and then open parenthesis, and now
Okay.
paste what you had there.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Um,
The whole
and I think
thing verbatim.
that might need to be in quotes, I think, because it's there's spaces in it.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
And
So
what this
now,
should do is when it goes to resolve that thing, so it's gonna see, okay, my end flag is development, so I do need to load the end development file. Now I see this thing has a value. Oh, it's a function. Oh, that
Okay.
function is calling exec. So I'll go and actually call this in the new process and get the
Okay.
value out.
Okay. So if we
So
do npx varlock load.
yeah, I think what we'll see is only one is missing, hopefully.
That might give an error, that thing,
Actually,
because
yeah.
okay, no, it still ran it. But
Yeah,
okay,
it
yeah.
worked.
So
Okay.
okay,
You know
so it
what though?
ran, and whatever output it was is what just gets set, right?
Yeah, it might be incorrect right now if it's not linked to the right project or whatever.
Oh yeah,
So
no, it's 100% not right now, because if I do this, I'm not even
yeah, let's
connected.
see what it
Uh,
was.
I'm gonna give it an invalid name just in case it does show it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna say I'm probably not initialized.
Yeah. So you know what? It's probably, if I had to guess, it's because that netlify CLI command is still giving a exit code of 0. So it's like, even though it's printing it
Okay, yeah,
nicely, so our thing thinks that it's fine. If they
Right.
yeah,
gave an exit code of 1 or whatever, then it would actually say, hey, exec failed.
yeah, yeah. So but yeah. So basically, this is working. So like I could do I guess, is there a way to
One
see the
password
values
or
with Varlock?
yep. So actually, let's
Because I'm
what's
thinking
the
if I
other
just
one
say
that's
like echo 123 or something, just to see this running.
Yep.
yeah. So yeah, you could do that. And what we'll need to do is we'll still need to add the other one missing item.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
can
Let's
add
do
it
So
here
yeah,
that.
too. Yeah.
yeah. If you just there you
You can
Okay.
even
go.
just give it a value too without the exec.
Okay. What was it? Stream base. And yeah,
And
we'll
that could
just
just you could
do.
just give it a value, whatever,
Okay.
Yeah.
right? And now, so okay, and also keep in mind now that this is .env.development, so this is a file that is like intended to be committed, right? So it would only make sense in
Yeah.
this case to do like to securely fetch the thing versus if you
Mhm.
wanted to actually just have the value in there, you would use a .env.local file.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Oh, and
Cool.
I
No,
think you
that
have
all
one
makes
extra
sense.
quote.
Oh yeah. Sorry. That was sometimes the ghost text from like Copilot.
Yeah.
It's anyways.
Also, you don't actually need the quotes; it's optional, and it supports all the kinds of quotes and all that stuff. So
Yeah. I was never sure. Because like some projects I have it, some that I don't. But yeah.
totally,
Okay.
and different
Okay.
.env loaders are different.
Okay.
So
So if
yeah,
I
now do
run.
yeah Varlock load, and we should see a nice output.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And nice. I
Um,
didn't realize it shows the default non-sensitive stuff too.
Yep.
yeah.
Cool.
So this is super helpful, and like this is what I was saying is you can add this in CI so that you have this as one of the steps, so that when you're debugging things, you can see, okay, what the hell is my environment variable setup going on right now?
Yeah. Okay. So you're obfuscating part of the keys and okay. So all right. So that's good. So I know this is valid. Obviously, it's not going to work right now because I don't have right values, but um, I can put in the real values and cloak it if we want, just
Yeah, why don't
to
you add those to a .env.local file, and then we don't need to. You can do that off screen,
yeah.
and then it'll be
Give me
ready to
one
go.
sec here. Let's do this. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Just give me one second here. If anybody wants to juggle or something while I'm fetching API keys, go for it.
Yeah, and
Usually
yeah,
Um,
make sure it's .env.local, right? So you don't commit it.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The development one I don't want to commit. Yeah, gotcha. Okay, let's see here. Nullify. Config
Um,
envar scope.
one other thing
Yeah,
also
sorry,
to
go ahead.
mention while you're doing that is that so there's a few different functions that you can call. That exec one will call out to a CLI. There's other ones for doing things like concatenating strings or having like a fallback where you can sort of say take the first non-empty value. Um,
Yeah.
there's a whole bunch of other functions we'll add at some point. So things like, if this is empty, then use this, right? So like you can kind of compose things together. Um,
Okay.
the main composition right now is just string templating, but you can imagine that being useful in other cases where you want to have some more slightly complex logic going on. Um,
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
then in terms of fetching from external services, things like 1Password or AWS Secrets Manager or whatever, right now we only have that exec function, but the plan is to implement a plugin system. So in the root decorator section, you do something like register plugin, Varlock / 1Password, and then
Okay.
that would register new functions that you can call. So then you'd have like a 1Password function, or OP, where you pass in whatever, a 1Password reference or an ID of the thing, whatever it may be, and it
Yeah.
would then be able to go and fetch that for you. And hopefully that will all be very extensible. So if you need to add a new plugin to fetch from a new data source, it should be pretty easy to do.
Cool. All right. So yeah, I added a .env.local. I just moved the development. I can definitely see it's picking up the right things now. So
Perfect.
So at this point, I'm just gonna run Astro. NR is just my my shell alias for npm run. So Varlock's gonna kick in again. Okay, so it didn't complain this time because obviously we're good. And let me. Okay, I've got some other error, but that is not Varlock. Records.map. Unless that could be me with just a wrong key, but I copy pasted it maybe incorrectly. But Varlock is working because there is no. I'm just gonna double check my env real quick again, but basically, for the audience, I added the required fields, and Varlock said everything's good, and we're off to the races. So I'm just gonna switch us back to chat view for a second here, just so I can sort this out.
One other benefit I'll mention is that both with Vite and Astro and Next and like all these things, if you want to actually use any environment variables in your config file, often it's kind of awkward because the config system itself is doing the loading. Whereas with Varlock, we are already loading it, and if you want to use any environment variables in your Astro config, it's ready to go. You just do it the same way as you would do it in your code.
Okay, cool. All right, I thought maybe Astro wanted quotes, but it's not that. Let me just.
No, that shouldn't matter because we're doing the loading and then injecting it already.
Okay, so you treat it regardless of. I know both of you get to see my keys here, but I'm not really too worried about you two.
It's fine.
Yeah, you can take down my very non-high traffic site. Yeah. Okay, where is it? Environment variables, Airtable key.
So you're using Airtable as the database, or like I guess as the content, a headless CMS kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I plan to eventually use something else. Oh, that is very different than what it was. Let's try this. Yeah, I started off with Airtable, but no, really? Okay. I'm making a terrible demo here, so let's get my base ID. Let's copy that. Sit. But all that to say is it's definitely working. No.
Yeah, that looks right.
Okay, that is the right key. So it's something else. Is there and we know those things are loading.
Well, let's go. What can we do?
Here, let me just go bring us back to pairing view. Why
don't we go do some debugging and see what's going on, and that'll be a good opportunity to also swap in how we let you import the environment variables as well.
Cool. Yeah. So again, for the audience, just to be clear, Varlock is loading the things because if we can see when we ran npm run dev, it didn't complain. And if we do npx varlock load again, we can see they're there. And those are definitely the start of the keys I pasted in. So I wonder if I'm not even using app_env right now, so that wouldn't affect anything, right?
Nope.
No, that would only affect if you wanted to load, a .env.production file, then we would.
Okay. Yeah. And if we go to like
is this related to your work trees or something maybe?
I don't think so because let me refresh here. Yeah, so the talks, it's something with Airtable, because yeah, the homepage has Airtable in it.
Okay.
So it's basically reading the schedule. You can see here like the guests and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
either, yeah, I'm
let's
not
go
sure what
debug a bit together, and that'll be a good chance to show some of the other features, I think.
yeah, cool. So I'm unintentionally allowing you to demo more things.
So yeah, why don't you open up that homepage or whatever that file that was failing? And
Okay.
we'll take a look at that.
Yeah.
Schedule
So
utils.
yeah. So I know what's failing here. It's like I mean, I could put an empty array, but
Yeah, let's open
eh,
it up and let's see where it's fetching the thing. I assume it's using the
141.
environment variable.
Yeah. Yeah. So the envar, it gets loaded up. Where is it? API key there.
Right. Cool. So let's right before this, why don't you do console log API key?
Console.
Now,
okay.
now normally if you log this, we would be exposing it, right?
Yeah.
But let's do it. Let's live dangerously.
Okay. All right. Danger. Got to do Austin Powers reference. Danger's my middle name. All right. So I'll go ahead and refresh this. Okay. So
Okay.
we'll see.
Now do you see that right above that 14, 23, 28? Oh yeah. Now we are logging it, but it's redacting the value in the console logs.
Yeah.
So
okay. So it's definitely in there. Okay.
So we know that it's there. And yeah, one thing we could do is that await fetch probably needs a try catch to make sure, to check if if it was a 200.
I think I might know what it is. I got an email the other day, even though my site's running like the live one, it's cached. I think I'm getting throttled in Airtable because I'm on a free tier. I think that's exactly what's happening.
Okay.
So but regardless, this is cool. So we're console logging, and like you said, it's redacted. But this validates that, hey, I do have something there, and this is great for if you have logs, whether it's console log or structured logs. You would actually, how would it work with structured logging? Would you have to, like, for example, like I use Pinot in like another because yeah, I guess how would that work? Would I have to explicitly say obfuscate it, or
Yeah, so anything that's going through the global console methods is going to be automatically redacted. If you wanted to sanitize something on its way out to some other service or whatever, you could explicitly do that. Depending on how that kind of, say you had a log function you were calling, you could add it there. Or if it's something like Pinot, I actually I had to open up a PR in Pinot to do this, but it did get merged. Like there is a way to add sort of a middleware to Pinot that will redact it as well. So
gotcha. Nice. And then I guess you could use that same middleware to redact other stuff too. But there is a question in the chat. Sorry, before you go ahead.
Oh yeah.
They're just wondering what language is Varlock primarily written in. I think it's TypeScript, but or what do you write it in?
It's TypeScript, yeah.
Okay.
It's TypeScript, but we release a standalone binary, so you can use it with anything. The difference there is if you're using it with another language, you wouldn't be like importing these helpers. You wouldn't get the type safe, auto completion, but you could still run the CLI. So you'd be like Varlock run -- your command, and it would go load the end files, resolve it, validate it, and then re-inject those environment variables into your process.
Okay, gotcha. We can actually do it because I'm pretty sure. Well, I wonder if I deployed it, I could do a deploy preview to see. I'm just curious.
We can not worry about that for now. But one thing I do want to show you is so where is that API key defined?
So It's coming from a .env probably. Okay, so let's go where this is.
Astro env or something.
I'm actually not using Astro env yet. I think I'm
Okay.
literally reading off of process.env straight up.
Yeah.
At
So-
the moment, yeah, I am. Yes,
Yeah.
if
So
I go to
Airtable
here,
API key.
yeah, it's right here.
Right.
Oh, import
okay.
meta.env.
So what you could do instead is add a new import. So do import. So you do import in parentheses or in curly brackets, capital ENV from varlock/env. No,
Is it
there's no
just Varlock?
at on
Okay.
that one. Yeah, varlock/env. And
Cool.
now, if you actually do, like, you don't really need to destructure it like this. I mean, you can if you, actually, I'm not sure if destruction will work, but yeah, so go find where it's using, oh yeah. So look, you can get rid of the lines 11 to 13, right? Because we don't need
Okay.
extra.
Oh yeah. I don't need my
validation
my
anymore.
defensive coding anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're
And,
cleaning up code too.
And now go look for, yeah, where it was actually using those things.
Yeah, so let's just go for there. Okay.
And yeah, and change that to env dot.
Okay.
And now hover over it, and you should see that you get some nice auto completion.
Okay.
You see, okay, here's the name. It's sensitive. It's a string. And if you added a comment there in the schema, just some extra text, it would also be coming through in there. So you can
this is nice.
test that out if you want. If you go in the schema and add, just some extra text above it, and then we should see it. It updates automatically.
Yeah, I'm just having fun removing code.
Yeah.
Okay. So where is it? Just
so
like
it's another comment. Any comment that doesn't start with an @ symbol there is just going to be treated as sort of a description. So,
okay.
So the Airtable API key, whatever, needs to have access to this table. Blah 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 blah. Right.
And then there's a decorator called docs URL, and you can give it a link to the docs, and that will actually populate it as the link.
Okay, that's making me think of, I did a lot of .NET, and they had like stuff in there with it wasn't docs URL, but you could do that too. Okay, so I'll just do one here just to see.
Yeah, so
come back
save,
here.
now go back, and if you go back to the IntelliSense, sometimes it should happen.
I'm in the wrong file.
We'll see, but
hold on. Schedule utils. Where was it?
Oh, I think schedule utils. It was actually getting passed in.
Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
all right, so there's the comment now. Okay, nice. Yeah, and this is pretty nice, just to give some more context to people in case they're not sure what the heck the thing is. Like, obviously, my comment's a little, well, this one's a little more descriptive, but just saying like this is the Airtable API key is kind of useless. But you could give some more context is what you're getting at.
There's lots of cases where it's useful. I mean, adding a docs link, right, to the like Airtable docs about how to generate an API key, things like that is very useful.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of thing that you could never do with Zod or any of these things that you're trying to like automatically extract the types from some like object. You're never going to get, this nicely formatted text with the docs and the links and everything. It's just not possible.
Yeah. And the other nice thing is there's like, because I remember I was at Netlify when, because we were using, they still use DMNO for edge functions and stuff. So process.env wasn't a thing in DMNO. I mean, it is now. We used to shim it, but like, I had import.meta.env. There's process.env. So just saying en.v equalizes it. Like you just handle that, which is nice.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
similarly,
like you don't have to worry about magic strings for what's public and what's not public because we understand that, right?
Yeah.
We're not relying on we're not relying on a prefix. The other thing about that is that currently the sort of concept of, is this sensitive and should I replace this at build time? Those two concepts are tightly coupled, and it's based on that prefix. We don't have this just yet, although we had it in DMNO, but we break those two things apart. So you could say, okay, this is not a sensitive thing, but I don't want to bundle it at build time. Or this is a sensitive thing, and I do want to bundle it at build time, because there could be cases where, that affects code folding and things like that.
Okay. The just because I'm gonna commit this in YOLO push just to see, but this this DTS file for TypeScript, is this something that I should commit even though it's auto generated, or does this auto generate whenever I just pull down Varlock?
It does auto generate every time the load happens, so
Okay.
it's up to you.
Okay.
I guess we should think more about whether or not sort of what our guidance there is.
It can get pretty big
Yeah.
with all, because we're inlining those SVGs as well.
Yeah, and there can be
Okay.
a lot of churn, so it's I would maybe skip it. So
Okay, so we can add it to like the git ignore.
Yeah, just like
Okay, and
your
that's
env.local, you'll want to ignore that.
okay. Where's that? Okay, so don't ignore the whole Varlock folder, just Varlock /env.dts.
It's just env.d.ts. There's no folder, I don't think.
Oh, weird. It seems. Oh, why did it show? Why is it showing up here?
I don't know.
I don't even see that folder. But anyways, let's do git ignore.
The whole, I see, the whole folder is called Varlock because I think, or your work tree.
Oh yeah, sorry, I called the work tree. Sorry, that's me. All right, cool. So we can
actually
get rid of
here, what you should do here is do env.local. So make sure you add these, like, env.local,
yeah,
env.star.local. Yeah, and then
.env, right?
Yeah, and then env.d.ts is going to be that that type file. And in this case, that env production and .env are now, in theory, would be fine to commit because you wouldn't be putting anything sensitive in them.
Yeah. Okay, so let's do this. Sec. Okay, let's do that, and let's get rid of the. Where was it? env.dts. Can ignore that now, and then commit the schema, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Now, one other thing is, so we've now replaced some of those references to import.meta.env with our imported Varlock env. So
yeah,
in theory, you'd want to do that for all of them. Now,
yeah, exactly, yeah.
A couple differences from import.meta.env is that if say you had a environment variable that was a number or a Boolean, those values would be actually coerced, numbers and Booleans. They wouldn't be strings anymore.
Okay.
And yeah, here's another one too. Like,
yeah, it's type checking.
You could move that that default value. You could move now into your env.
Yeah, into the meta. Yeah, so what's happening here, this URL, this is coming from Netlify. Yeah. So one, it's good that it gave a type error because like it's like, hey, what's going on here? And yeah, like you said, put in the default. Cool. Right, and let's just do that, and let's import. I feel so clean in my code base now.
Yeah, one thing that I've noticed is like, I think we all avoid putting stuff in env files. Like if it could be a const and like have some logic around it, like we'll do that often because the whole experience of using env files and sharing them and keeping them up to date is a huge pain. But when you have this tool that actually makes this stuff work well for you, suddenly you're like, oh, of course I'll put it in there. I have type safety and documentation and a way of overriding it. And, it's like suddenly it becomes a very useful tool.
Yeah, so this is interesting because I guess now you have a default value in the schema, but you'd want to override that locally, right?
Yeah, so, and
here's what you would do is when you're running locally, do you want it to be like localhost or whatever, or do you want it to just be nikt.live?
Yeah, it could be localhost, so let's just do that. I think it always pulls the prod URL.
So if you move that to .env.production, then it would be, then it would be set in production. Or you could just
Yeah.
rely on Netlify to set it in all the deployments and you're fine.
Yeah, it should. I think when I added that like guard of nikki.live, it's because I thought it wasn't picking up. We'll see, I guess. But yeah. So basically, here this brings up another interesting point. So like, if we just stop this for a sec, so Astro runs by default on port 4321, but like say I switched it, I guess we could have another nvar which is like default port and put it in there, or
let's do
Yeah.
it. So add another one, call it port.
okay.
Because this is a good example to show a couple of different things. So make it whatever 5555 or something else, right?
Okay, yeah, cool.
I believe
Okay,
there's even
now
a port type.
in the URL, there is a port type actually. So you can do @type
Okay.
equals port.
Okay. Lowercase or
Yeah, lowercase.
Yeah.
Types are,
In a comment.
and you just need a comment.
oh yeah. Thanks.
And now
Cool.
on line 24, replace 4321 with $, port.
Yeah.
Yeah, and either works with the brackets or without. So
Okay.
that's good. And now, yeah, so here's an example of how we sort of reference other values in string templates, which is pretty useful.
Okay.
And now open up your Astro config file.
Okay.
And let's add another import to import n from Varlock n, the same as we did when we're using it in our code. Okay.
Esther in the chat saying this is all pretty cool.
Sweet.
Thanks.
And now I believe the key is like server.
Yeah, it's server.
And then I think it's either port or dev port.
Yeah. So
I think that should do it.
And just go end port. Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
so then
And this is something that currently in Astro, if you want to use environment variables in your Astro config file, it's a pain. You have to go and explicitly now go and load them again, and it's awkward. Whereas for us, it's just part of it.
Okay, and I just want to come back to here. So now we can also see that the type checking passes because we added URL. So that's nice too. And just for good measure, I want to do npx varlock load. Okay, so we've got everything. Port.
Variable
I have to make the port. Got to make the port required. I guess this is an interesting question. Is like when you have default values, you don't need to make it required, I guess.
So go back into your schema and change the change default required at the very top.
Oh, okay.
Change default required to infer.
Okay.
And that is exactly what that is. It's if you have a default value specified in your schema, it's going to assume that it's required. So you only add required on something that's empty. So you could actually remove now line 23 and
16.
Line 16.
Okay, and that'll work. I guess one question I have is it'll infer required, like for local, this is fine because we literally have a value here. When it goes to prod and Netlify, this is injected from the environment. So if it's not set, the infer will still cause a required failure?
The infer is based on this schema file. Because remember, this schema file is always getting loaded as part of the process. So
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, you can still override the value, but it's just inferring the requiredness based on if we have a default here.
But but if it's not set in production there, will it throw, Theo?
Yeah, that's what I was asking. Yeah. Okay, cool.
But the only way it would be not set in production is if you were overriding it with an empty value, right? Because this is the default. So
okay, yeah. So I guess like in the context of Netlify, it injects a production URL or the deploy preview URL. So if for some reason Netlify was not working, I guess we would obviously get a crash, but like we'd be able to see pretty quickly, or
if Netlify wasn't injecting the URL, the value would be this localhost one, right? Because we have this value here as a default. if you only wanted it to be applied in development, you'd have to move that value to .env.development.
Okay, got you. And then in here, just make it required.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So I would probably do that, but I guess what I meant about it wouldn't throw necessarily in production with the current setup, but obviously the site would crash at some point because it's gonna go like, where the hell is the local host? And then I would obviously see in my logs, oh, local host, why is that? And then, oh, okay, that's why. But
exactly.
but I like your suggestion of putting this into development. Now, if it's in development, it still inherits the schema. And if I
you would leave this here, you would just move the value, right? So you'd still leave the comments and the fact that, hey, this is a thing that exists, but we're going to move the URL equals HTTP. We'll move that stuff to .env.development.
But here I would do an explicit required because I don't have a default value now, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay. All right. Look out for my Varlock course dropping after this live stream.
It's it's pretty flexible, right? It can kind of do whatever you need.
Okay. Let's come here and okay, and then here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So the only question I have is we have the .env.local right now. So it would consolidate the two or no?
It loads everything, right? So it loads everything, and there's an order of precedence. It's env schema, .env, .env.local, .env.development, .env.development.local, and then environment variables.
I put a link to there's a guide, environments guide in the chat.
Okay, cool.
That explains all of it.
Which chat did you drop it in?
In this one here, in our.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I see it. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'll just drop a link to that. Cool. Also, a nice doc site. I like the 8-bit environment variable text. Sorry.
Cool. It's Astro, and I believe it's using Varlock now too.
So okay, I think we're in pretty good shape now. There's one more thing I want to show you.
Yep.
Which is like open up one of your pages, one of them that works. So not the home page, but one of the other ones.
Yeah. Oh, I just forgot. I didn't have my Twitch chat open, and there's people over there. Hey, Fuzzy, thanks for joining. Sorry. Sorry, you were saying, Theo?
Oh, open up one of the pages that is working, and I can show you one cool feature.
Cool. Let's do that. Okay, now this should start on port 555 now, which it does. Yeah. Okay, that's good. And I'll just go here to boom. If I knew how to spell. All right. Okay, so here we go.
Yeah, so let's go to that Astro source for that page.
Yeah, that was talks.
And so let's add another import so that we have access to the env.
Okay.
Yeah, and now when both in Astro and Next and React Router and all these things, there's a lot of magic happening now, so that you have one file where some of that file is running on the server, some is running on the client. You can be running it on the server and pre-rendering it, and it gets exposed to the client. So it starts to become pretty challenging to understand, hey, I'm using this environment variable. Am I going to leak this by accident, right? Is it going to be built into source code? Is it going to be sent to the user, right? So the way that they deal with it currently is with those prefixes, right? But even that it's not foolproof, because you could still put it into a pre-rendered page in the content and it'll still just be exposed. So
gotcha.
Why don't you go now into the template and just add the one of those sensitive keys into the title or something.
Okay, cool.
So, which is obviously
I'm putting a lot of trust in you.
Well, it worked. Cool. It works with the console log. So Yeah, so
Yeah,
do
no, no,
env
no. I
dot
know.
yeah,
I'm
Airtable
gonna
API
go all
key.
out. Gonna
Let's
expose
do
my
it.
API key.
Fingers
Go
crossed.
big or go home. Okay, leak sensitive.
Hey.
Oh, nice. Okay, so it doesn't
So
even redact it. It just says bad idea.
Yeah, so if
correct.
you console
Crash
log it in the code fence at the top, it will redact it because that's safe, right?
Yeah, that's running server side. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
But if
this
you
is
expose
nice.
it, and it doesn't matter how you expose it, it could be through env dot, whatever sensitive key. You could paste the value in there. It doesn't matter. We know what are the sensitive values, so we can just scan all the output for those values. There's no change, to
Okay.
it's not like limited in how that works.
And this is interesting too, because like obviously we're importing it in the code fence here in Astro, but this is actually a server side rendered page, so it's not like on the client side, but you're still also
If
saying
you did
like, oh,
this,
you
if you did this
SSR'd this, but
without Varlock, if you did this and just put your API key into the template, it would expose it.
yeah. Okay, no, that's cool.
So you could also, I think, run Astro build and it'll blow up as well here, right?
It'll fail. Yeah.
Okay, let's give that a go, because even the build artifacts you're checking, I guess.
Yeah.
We checked the build artifacts. We checked, and we just we checked pre-rendered pages. We check all code, everything that's going over the wire to the user should yell at you. It depends. So it depends. If that's a server rendered page, it's going to fail at runtime.
It's not. It's not. Yeah. Good call.
It's going to fail at
it's
runtime
not
then.
static.
If it's pre-rendered, then it would fail at build time.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, no, I used to have these like as static assets, but for actually that page should be. This actually brings up a good thing. I should just generate that statically, that one, because the schedule on the home page, I server side render that because based on the region you're coming from, I set the time according to where you're viewing it from. But I'm going to take a note to, pre-render pages that just don't need to be server rendered, pre-render.
Yeah, so I guess you could set it to hybrid in your Astro config.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I could have
you can
sworn
also toggle it per page.
Yeah, I forget. They switched it up a while ago, but I forget. I think I had hybrid before, but yeah, I think per page. I'd have to see. I think probably having it hybrid and then just making the home page the actual server rendered one.
Yeah.
Cool. Gonna save me some bits and bytes. All right. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I mean that's, there's another sort of similar security feature that is in the works that we actually had in DMNO, but we don't have implemented here yet, which is that individual, sensitive config items, you'll be able to mark them as being like allowed to be sent to certain domains. So you'd be able to say, hey, this Airtable API key, I only want to be able to send it to api.airtable.com. And so that way, if you say made a request to your logging service or some other external service, and it wasn't going to the right place, it would stop you as well.
Okay, gotcha. No, that's cool, man. I think we're getting close to time here, but like this is like honestly super helpful because one, like I said, it's cleaning up some stuff in my code. And I like these detection features. I like having the schema. There's a lot of nice DX here.
For you, like on a solo thing like this is all, it's just nice. It's a nice to have, right? You probably get by without it, right? But you can imagine on a big project with a bunch of team members, like this can save you a ton of time because all the projects that I've been working on, like the teams, it's like every time you onboard a new team member, it takes a while. Every time you add a new service and there's a new API key to distribute, every time there's like a weird failure and you're trying to debug what was going on, like this time really does add up.
Yeah, and not only that, but like I can't tell you how many times when I do a git clean when things just aren't working, because that always 99% of the time when something's wonky in my repo, git clean seems to fix it. And of course you blow away your .env file with that. And then it's like, man, especially like it's one thing for API keys like I have, but there's certain keys where you just can't get the copy back, right? Because it's like a one-time thing. So then it's like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, gotta go create another dev key or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So like, there's definitely convenience too as well. But yeah, I definitely see this working on larger teams or orgs being like a really nice value add to just save time and just get rid of a lot of annoyances of having to set up this stuff. So
Yeah,
and
and
make
a
sure
lot
you
of this
don't leak
stuff.
it.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff lives in readmes too, right? So you can imagine that like
yeah,
those first time setup instructions, or it's like set this and then this, you know, go here and get this. So we're trying to like codify that
Yeah.
in a
yeah,
useful format.
One other sort of, where we're trying to go with this is like, you can imagine this schema, like a.m.schema, being in every public Docker container, right? So there's like the Postgres, Redis, whatever, like
yeah,
all these containers that you're using. The way that that stuff is documented currently, it's different on every one. It's just buried in a README. It's all different, right? So like, why shouldn't each of these just have a schema when it
yeah,
boots? If the requirements aren't met, if it's not valid, it'll tell you, hey, this thing's missing, or this thing doesn't look right. Like,
yeah, yeah.
it just seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah. No, it's super cool. And honestly, I'm glad we did a second stream because like the first one was like a good kind of like high level and like explainers, but I actually appreciated doing this deep dive and like just getting it up and running because just I ran into snags obviously, which allowed us to like demo stuff like the
Mhm.
redacted stuff with the console log and stuff. And so there's a lot of goodies in here, and it's I'm definitely gonna commit this to my project because
Awesome.
one, it seems like a no brainer to me, even though it is just me, like you said. But and I don't know, I'm gonna try and break things, but it sounds like
For
everything's
sure.
pretty stable.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you were the nudge for us to do this integration. So thank you for that as well.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, so like you had other frame. Did you end up doing the quick one as well after that, or were those already in place? It was just Astro, or
I think we had a specific Astro plugin we had a specific Beat plugin. Then I made the specific Astro plugin. But what I wanted to do after going through this with Domino and having all these different plugins for each framework was see, how can I simplify things? And so now they're all really just using the Beat plugin under the hood, or in the quick one, for
yeah?
example, there is no quick plugin. It's just the Beat plugin. So as much as possible, it's just the Beat plugin is really powering everything, and that's just less code to
Okay,
maintain.
yeah, cool. Also, just want to say, hey, Emmett, thanks for joining as well. I can't believe I had the Twitch chat off the whole time. Anyways, I'm usually pretty good. This is a funny thing about live stream, not funny thing, but like people think like, oh yeah, you just turn your camera on and do stuff, and it's like, yeah, there's that part, but then there's like 4 different chats and then just other stuff. But so apologies to people on Twitch today. I normally don't forget you. So anyways, this has been great, guys. Really appreciate both you taking the time, and definitely folks check out Varlock over at varlock.dev. I'll go ahead and drop that in the chat again. And I don't know if there's anything else you want to mention before we kind of wrap things up here.
Star us on GitHub.
Yes.
All
Please start
right,
us on
nice.
GitHub. We have a Discord as well. So on our website, you'll find the link. So, we really are hungry for more feedback. And so if you have any ideas or you run into any snags, hop in the
Okay,
Discord, let us know. Happy to help.
Yeah. And that
cool.
GitHub action you mentioned is coming soon. There's an open PR for that. Should land in the next few days.
Cool.
There's also an open PR for just some best practices about securing your MCP servers with Varlock.
Okay.
Because there's been some high profile sort of leaks with these things living in
Yeah.
plain text. So we're trying to help those folks out as well.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I've been securing MCP stuff where I work, but in a different context. But that's good to know, man. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for hanging today, and really appreciate this deep dive, Phil and Theo. And for folks, can check out the schedule. We've got a lot of. I'll just share it on the screen real quick. But we've got a lot of folks, and of course I've got Inception happening here now because I had that open over there. But yeah, I'm hanging out with my old coworker Eduardo from Netlify soon. We're hanging out with Josh Sear again from PHP Land over at Laravel, doing some vibe prompting with Goose, all kinds of stuff. But anyways, check out the schedule, peeps. And yeah, thanks again, Theo and Phil. And if you don't mind just staying on for 1 second, and everybody else, we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks so much.
Cool. Let me just stop things here.